Anya Vancroft's journal entry, October 14th, 2024. Today, I held him. He was small, warm, and smelled like a world I never deserved. We named him Rylan. My son, my world. Ethan says I finally understand what peace looks like. In the depths of Rylan's eyes, every shadow of my past vanished. This peace, Rylan, I will protect it fiercely. For Anya Vancroft, who lived in the serene, wealthy suburbs of coastal California, life had always been a rigorous exercise in control. Throughout her 20s, she was a celebrated intelligence analyst for the CIA, known internally as Ghost. She specialized in reading the unpredictable, connecting disparate data points, and exposing threats before they fully formed. She retired from active service after marrying Ethan Vancroft, a successful tech entrepreneur, believing her decade-long war against chaos was finally over. 4 years into their marriage, their son, Rylan, arrived. Rylan's birth marked the end of Anya's total self-control and the introduction of a new, vulnerable, and ultimately powerful emotion, unconditional love. He was, at just 2 weeks old, both her greatest strength and her most exposed weakness. The incident occurred late on a clear, cool California night. Ethan was on a critical business trip in Tokyo, leaving Anya alone in their secluded, high-tech mansion. Despite having retired, Anya was a paranoid sentinel. The villa was protected by multiple layers of automated security, laser grids, and proximity sensors, a fortress designed by an intelligence expert. At 2:30 a.m., Anya was ripped from sleep by a suffocating sense of dread. She checked the master security panel, status green, no breach, no sensor alarms. Everything indicated normal, but her finely tuned, trauma-honed instincts screamed a lethal contradiction. She moved with the quiet grace of a predator towards Rylan's nursery. The door creaked slightly as she pushed it open, and the sight within froze the blood in her veins. The state-of-the-art crib was empty. Impossible. I just fed him. Did the nanny return early? No, she's off for the month. The scream was lodged deep in her chest, but the CIA training clamped down, forcing emotional containment. This was a moment not for hysteria, but for analysis. She swept the room. No broken glass, no signs of forced entry. But there was a minute disturbance. The blackout curtain near the French doors was gently swaying, suggesting a slight air current. And underneath the crib, there was a tiny, faint trail of salt residue and sand, invisible to the naked eye, but obvious to a trained analyst. The ocean was less than a quarter-mile away. She moved to a hidden section of the wall where an electronic lock was concealed. This secured her go bag and a tactical 9mm sidearm. As she deactivated the lock, a small, heavily starched piece of paper fell out. It was not a ransom note. It contained only 4 digits, stamped beneath an ornate, unsettlingly familiar family crest. Anya recognized the crest instantly. It belonged to Silas Thorne. The name was toxic, a powerful financier and philanthropist whose charitable work masked a massive international shell organization involved in illicit finance, black market acquisitions, and corporate espionage. A decade ago, Anya, then Ghost, had spent nearly 2 years dismantling a complex scheme of his that cost him hundreds of millions and nearly landed him in federal prison. He had emerged unscathed by a single charge, but wounded by the humiliation of being exposed by a junior analyst. Anya realized the numbers were a date. December 5th, 2007, the date her CIA operation brought down Silas Thorne's primary offshore operation. This abduction was not about money, it was about retribution. Silas was not taking Rylan, he was taking Anya's lifeblood to force her to relive her greatest failure. She contacted her only remaining link to her past, Marcus, a former CIA tech specialist who now ran a legitimate cybersecurity firm. I need access to the highest resolution drone and satellite imaging from the past 12 hours. A 5-mile radius of my coordinates, Anya dictated. her voice stripped bare of emotion. And I need deep-level, unauthorized access to the Treasury Department's classified property ownership database. Marcus's voice was instantly laced with panic. Anya, what is happening? This sounds like a red flag operation. They took Ryland, Marcus. If you can't help me, I will do this alone. But if you stand in my way, you are choosing a side I cannot forgive. Marcus's silence was heavy with fear, but his loyalty won out. 30 minutes. I'll open a secure channel and get you the imagery feed. But you need to promise me, Anya, no bodies. I promise only to bring my son home, she replied, ending the call. Anya changed into her tactical clothing, dark, durable, and equipped with concealed pouches and reinforced stitching. She took the Glock 19 and her customized lock-picking gear. To the outside world, she was a mother. To her enemy, she was the ghost. She was going to haunt Silas Thorne. Anya retreated to her dedicated home office, a space that, ironically, was designed to handle high-stakes crises. As Marcus compiled the data, Anya delved into the specifics of her old adversary. She pulled up the CIA closure files on Silas Thorne's operation from 2007. The operation, codenamed Project Midas, was designed to seize controlling stakes in crucial infrastructure companies globally using laundered money from weapons trade. Thorne was a master manipulator. He didn't just deal in money, he dealt in leverage. Anya had discovered the single flaw in his matrix, a vulnerability in the money flow through a minor Estonian bank that revealed the entire chain of command. Her analysis had resulted in over 30 arrests and the freezing of assets worth nearly $1 billion. A direct, devastating blow to Thorne's ambition. Thorne, at the subsequent Senate hearings, never lost his composure. He maintained his innocence, attributing the losses to mismanagement and geopolitical instability. But Anya, who sat in the gallery, saw the flicker in his cold blue eyes, the promise of unending, personal revenge. He didn't want money, Anya typed into her secure file. He wanted the ability to control the outcomes of others. I took away his ability to control me. This kidnapping is his attempt to prove that even a decade later, he can still dictate the terms of my life. The secure channel pinged. Marcus's drone and satellite data were overlaid with thermal analysis. Look at this, Anya. Marcus's voice crackled. The submersible drone they used, it's not commercial. It's a prototype from a defunct government contractor, highly modified. It has a silenced propulsion unit and specialized heat shields. Only someone with deep government contract access and unlimited capital could acquire and run it. Silas Thorne, Anya confirmed. He used the saltwater environment to mask any scent or residue that dogs or sensors would pick up on land. The salt residue on the floor was the only physical evidence he left. Marcus then provided the property database query result. The location tied to the date 76-1205 was indeed the old Naval Armory complex on the Baja California coast. Why there? Marcus asked. It's a 2-hour flight, miles from civilization. Because it's a graveyard of his past failures, Anya explained, tapping the screen. That complex was the planned hub for Project Midas's South American operations. It was sealed the week my analysis went public. It's his personal cathedral of unfinished business. He's inviting me back to the scene of his original crime against me. Anya stared at the image of the sprawling, desolate complex. Her mission crystallized. This wasn't a rescue operation. It was an extraction from a symbolic enemy stronghold. She had to destroy the symbol while retrieving the prize. Before leaving, Anya recorded a voice note to Ethan, not to send now, but to serve as her confession if she failed. She knew the magnitude of her impending lie. Ethan, I'm sorry. I lied to you. This isn't Tokyo. This is my past, and it found our son. I am going to the Baja Armory. If I don't return, please know that I loved you both more than I loved control, and that is why I had to go. My silence was Ryland's best chance. She then sent the brief coded text to Ethan about the emergency funding in Tokyo. It was the perfect lie. It spoke his language and forced him into an isolated, high focus mode, ensuring he wouldn't contact the local authorities for 72 hours. Her love demanded her silence. Anya began her journey, flying under the radar using burner phones, cash, and tradecraft skills learned a decade ago. Anya first targeted the Hammer, a man she eventually identified as Dale Hemlock, a disgraced ex-contractor known for his skill in underwater infiltration. She located him in a seedy motel in San Diego. The non-lethal knockout gas deployed through the air vent was flawless. When he woke up, Anya had him bound, sitting opposite her, the surgical scalpel catching the dim light. Silas Thorne hired you for the extraction, Anya stated, her voice flat. You used the submersible drone and the storm drains. Where is the main security hub? Hemlock initially resisted, trying to appeal to his contract code. I don't betray clients, lady. Anya didn't threaten his contract, she threatened his comfort. She displayed his daughter's college acceptance letter, which he kept on his phone's lock screen. Your daughter is attending Berkeley in the fall. I know how much that means to you. Betraying a man who kidnaps infants is not dishonorable. Allowing him to destroy your family's future, however, is. He broke. He detailed the command bunker and identified Deacon as the security chief, a man whose loyalty to Thorne bordered on religious fanaticism. Hemlock also confirmed the location of the biometric keycards and the digital lock pattern. Crucially, he revealed that Deacon was paranoid about external hacking and had installed a highly centralized but poorly managed internal network. Anya contacted Marcus with the finalized plan. The command bunker is deep, Marcus. Deacon will be in the central node. I need you to build me a surgical imp that works through the power grid, Anya requested. Too noisy, too risky. Marcus replied immediately. It fries everything. And I won't risk Ryland's life on electrical failure. Then we go subtle, Anya countered. Silas Thorne's network uses a legacy encryption protocol from the early 2000s based on the principle of centralized control. I need a Trojan that mimics a required firmware over-the-air update, something that looks official but once executed initiates a cascading system failure designed for temporary total paralysis. Marcus spent 10 tense hours building the digital weapon, a meticulously coded Trojan that would temporarily overwhelm the system's buffer, flooding Deacon's central console with false data, forcing a hard reboot that would lock him out for a crucial 5 minutes. The signature is clean, Anya, Marcus reported. It looks like a corrupted internal system update. But the window is short. You get precisely 3 minutes and 20 seconds of system confusion before Deacon's manual overrides kick in. That's your total window to breach and extract. Anya stared at the numbers. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. That's more than enough time for the ghost. Before heading to the site, Anya acquired specialized gear, the thermal flash igniter, designed to create localized steam explosions, a filtered baby mask in hazmat situations, fitting Rilland's face, and a miniature, high-frequency sonic disruptor disguised as a watch. She planned every step down to the second, calculating the exact amount of time it would take her to move from the external data port to Rilland's cell. The margin of error was 0. The night was cold and unforgiving. Anya moved through the sea caves, the high-speed submersible drone now acting as her silent transport. Anya emerged near the cliff base, climbing the sheer rock face using minimal gear and maximum physical conditioning. She reached the perimeter, disabling the electrical current with her frequency jammer. She located the main external data port near the camouflage net covering the command bunker entrance. It was a risky move, exposing herself before the digital attack, but necessary. She plugged in the customized USB drive, uploaded the Trojan, and initiated the attack sequence. In the bunker's central control room, Deacon was watching the perimeter monitors, a cold, vigilant sentinel. Suddenly, the screens exploded in a flood of conflicting data, flashing between perimeter breach and system green. Deacon, convinced it was an external cyber attack, frantically tried to isolate the network. The firmware update pop-up appeared. He cursed, his fear of external sabotage overriding his judgment. He clicked Install Now, believing it was a defense patch. The system froze. Deacon was locked out, staring at a blank screen with a revolving loading circle. His face contorted with cold fury. He was down for the count. Anya saw the external maintenance light flicker, signaling the total system paralysis. The main blast door's numerical keypad showed Maintenance Override. She used the simple code gleaned from Hemlock and slipped inside, the heavy steel door thudding shut behind her. She moved through the silent, cold corridors, guided by the thermal camera. She bypassed the central control room, hearing Deacon's distant, furious shouts as he fought to restore his grid. She found the isolation wing. Ryland's cell door was reinforced and sealed. She used the keycard stolen from Deacon's discarded uniform and input the final code. The heavy door hissed open. Ryland was there, sleeping peacefully in the insulated crib. Anya rushed to him, the coldness of her mission melting into pure maternal need. She scooped him up, holding him tight, checking him for any harm. He was fine. The metallic click of the secondary door echoed in the cell. Silas Thorne and a recovered Deacon were standing in the opening. Touching, Silas drawled, his smile predatory. But so predictable, Anya. You traded a 3-minute digital window for an eternal sentence. The game is over, Silas, Anya stated, tightening her grip on Ryland, her right hand moving to the Glock. No, the game is complete, Silas countered. You are now in the acid chamber. This room is rigged to the command bunker's primary fire suppression. In 5 minutes, the air pressure drops, and the internal sprinklers release a solution of hydrofluoric acid. Deacon blocked the exit. It was the only way to ensure the ghost came in without backup. Your choice: the boy dies in agony, or you submit to Silas's judgment. Anya's mind raced. She needed to break the stalemate without sacrificing Ryland. Anya fixated on the maintenance port above the door, her last hope. You're a poor architect, Silas, Anya sneered, buying time. You only planned for chemical defense. You didn't plan for thermodynamics. I planned for your death, Silas roared. You planned for my past, Anya corrected, and my past knows that the structural blueprint for this decommissioned Navy bunker has a fatal flaw. The chemical ventilation port for this room runs directly alongside the emergency steam purge line from the old power core, which is still active for minimal heating. The two lines are separated by a foot of concrete and a half-inch of deteriorating iron. Anya held up the small thermal flash igniter. The timer read .030. I won't fire a gun, Silas, she announced, her voice now cold and commanding. I will fire pure heat. This igniter, placed on the external maintenance port, will superheat that iron pipe instantly. The resultant steam pressure will rupture the pipe, flooding this room with superheated, non-lethal steam vapor. It won't hurt Ryland, who is protected by this filtered mask. She secured the mask gently over Ryland's face. But you and Deacon will be instantly blinded, scalded, and incapacitated for 10 crucial minutes. You lose consciousness. I take the door. Silas Thorne, a financier who respected cold logic, wavered. He understood the vulnerability of the old naval infrastructure. 0005. Anya aimed the igniter at the maintenance port. You stole my peace, Silas. I am taking your control, she whispered. 0000. The igniter fired. A deafening roar of pressurized, scalding steam instantly erupted from the ceiling joint, filling the room with blinding vapor. Silas and Deacon screamed as the heat and steam assaulted their senses, their bodies instantly buckling in paralyzed agony. Anya pushed through the steam, used her remaining energy to throw the door fully open, and plunged into the cool, clear corridor, Ryland secure in her arms. Anya sprinted out of the bunker, her body fueled by adrenaline and the precious weight in her arms. She ignored the muffled screams from the incapacitated Thorne and Deacon. She reached the surface, moving across the exposed yard. She reached her designated exfiltration point, a small, hidden inlet on the coast where Marcus was waiting. She climbed into the specialized marine vehicle. Marcus, seeing Ryland safe, let out a ragged breath. "You did it, Anya. You actually did it," Marcus whispered, starting the engine. Anya didn't reply. She secured Ryland in a specialized, hardened carrier she had prepared, and then turned her attention to the final phase. She used the command bunker's laptop, which she had quickly retrieved, to send the pre-written, untraceable message to the CIA director, containing the exact location and evidence of Silas Thorne's arms and financial assets stored within the armory. "He tried to take my future, Marcus," Anya said, her voice heavy with finality. "I took his entire past and present." Within hours, the news broke. The Naval Armory complex was raided by Homeland Security and the FBI, acting on an anonymous, highly detailed tip. They found Silas Thorne, Deacon, and several armed contractors incapacitated and restrained within the complex, along with an enormous cache of illegal weaponry, encrypted financial data, and evidence of international corporate espionage. The official story attributed the incapacitation to a highly sophisticated, accidental chemical leak within the decommissioned facility. Anya faced her hardest moment not in the armory, but 3 days later when Ethan returned from Tokyo, confused and frantic after the news broke. Anya sat him down in their secure office and played the voice note she had recorded. Then, she showed him the classified closure files on Silas Thorne, revealing the full extent of her past as the ghost. Ethan listened, his face moving between horror and understanding. He saw the cold, calculated revenge, but he also saw the absolute, terrifying love that fueled her action. "You risked everything, Anya," he said quietly. "I risked everything to protect my peace," she corrected. "My peace is you and Ryland. I broke the silence, Ethan, so that we never have to live in the shadow of my past again." Ethan didn't condemn her lie. He embraced her sacrifice. Their marriage, built on a foundation of success and love, was now tempered in the crucible of absolute truth and shared danger. The evidence gathered from the armory was a lethal blow to Silas Thorne. The charges leveled against him: espionage, arms trafficking, conspiracy to commit murder, and most importantly, the kidnapping of a minor, were federal and inescapable. His carefully constructed empire crumbled. His public image as a philanthropist was shredded. He was sentenced to life without parole. Anya never returned to the CIA. Instead, she channeled her unique expertise into founding Vancroft Resilience Systems. The firm specialized in predictive vulnerability analysis for corporations, governments, and high-net-worth families. Anya didn't just audit security, she designed zero-failure infrastructure. She taught her clients that the biggest risk is always the one you don't anticipate, often stemming from an internal, overlooked flaw. VERS became an instant, immense success. Anya, the brilliant, ruthless founder, was revered. She became the woman who understood how the world truly breaks and how to build fortresses that withstand the chaos. Ryland grew up in a safe, quiet home, surrounded by the unconditional love of two highly intelligent parents. Anya Vancroft had paid the ultimate price, sacrificing her quiet, perfect retirement, but she had gained something far more valuable: a future built entirely on her own terms, free from the ghosts of her past, guarded by the unwavering precision of the analyst and the boundless love of the mother. The silent whisper of vengeance had become the foundational roar of her new empire,